Welcome everybody to the overview about SAP S/4HANA. And I can promise you it will be the best S/4HANA presentation you will ever see. And it will also be a very lively presentation. It won't be solely slides. I will show a lot in the system. I will use various roles, the normal end user, the finance clerk, a sales user, an inventory user, a procurement clerk, and you will see and learn about the best of SAP S/4HANA and the benefits compared to a classical ERP system and why SAP S/4HANA is said to be the intelligent ERP. But now let's start. So if we have a look at SAP S/4HANA, and a lot of customers ask me, look, Stefan, what is the difference between SAP S/4HANA and a classical ERP system, let's say the ECC 6.0 of SAP? For me, it's basically these three guiding principles. First of all, it is the changes that we did to the architecture. Second, it is Fiori, the new role-based design. And third, it is the combination out of the modern architecture and the Fiori role-based design. We created what we call new business processes, smart businesses, and an intelligent ERP. But first, let's have a look at the modern architecture. So what have we done at SAP S/4HANA? In S/4HANA in 2015, we dramatically changed the underlying data structure of the ERP system and completely modernized the whole data structure of an ERP system. So basically in SAP S/4HANA, it's still ABAP based. It still runs on the well-known NetWeaver. You still have a three-tier layer structure, which means you have the database tables in the bottom. You have in the middle an application server, the ABAP application server, where the business logic is processed. And then on top, you have a UI representation layer, which in an S/4HANA on-premise can be a GUI or also Fiori. But what we did to the primary data structures is that due to the fact that S/4HANA runs on the HANA in-memory database, we could simply get rid of all duplicate data. We deleted indices, aggregates, totals tables, and anything where data is pre-aggregated for fast analytical access. Those data we deleted from the system. So any kind of processing and any kind of reporting in SAP S/4HANA is based on the primary data structures. So you only have the financial documents, controlling documents, the material documents, the sales orders, purchase orders, etc. And we can now do a reporting based on a single source of truth. I give you an example, for example, in finance. So this is simply the data structure of a classical ERP, SAP ERP system in finance, like in your system. We have on the left the BKPF, the master data and header table. We have the BSEC tables where the financial documents, the items, financial items are stored. And then we have various index tables, we have totals tables, and also other tables for controlling structures, asset accounting, etc. So here in a classical ERP, whenever we write, when we write a new financial document, we have to log 10 tables and perform inserts in 10 tables. Whenever we update a financial document, we need at least log 5 different tables and update them. So in SAP S/4HANA, as I said, we don't need any indices tables, we don't need aggregates, we don't need totals, we just need the plain document table. So we deleted all of the old ones and the duplicate data, and we were in the first version ended up with just the financial document. But that was not the last point. What we also did, especially then in S/4HANA Finance, we merged finance and controlling to one single unit. So there is no financial document and controlling document anymore physically on the table. Of course, in the application, you can still do a document split. But physically on the table, we have just one financial document holding all kinds of information. And we have just one single table left, which is called the ACDoc A, the Accounting Document Actual, or also called the Universal Journal. So in finance, we have just one financial table holding all kinds of information, the whole general ledger information, the whole COPA, profitability analysis, COPA information, the material ledger, the asset accounting blocks, and the whole controlling information for management accounting. So whenever someone in your company writes a financial document, an invoice that and performs the clearing, um, with this financial document, any kinds of information is stored. It directly stores also the profit center, the segments, the cost amounts, the cost centers, and any kinds of information that you had formerly in the tables. And at the very moment someone in a company writes a financial document, it's directly also reflected in any kind of reporting. Why? Because any kinds of reports are based on this single source of truth, on this universal journal. And this leads me also to the benefits of SAP S/4HANA. With SAP S/4HANA in finance, for example, you create a single source of truth. We consolidate all financial, operational, analytical data in one single table. And by this, we also enable fast big data analysis. So you can process massive amounts of data, turn data into insights, and also we provide users with self-service analytical capabilities. So you can easily tweak and modify any kinds of information, and also the whole operations, the whole financial accounting and financial closing is simplified because we don't need to reconcile any kinds of information and data. You can perform a soft close is performed on the fly at every day directly because the information is there in this table anyhow. So you can create one finance for financial operation, for business planning and consolidation and analytics. And let me show you this in the system. So what is really the benefit, for example, in finance, and how easy it is to analyze performance in systems and to move from analytical to transactional. So as I said, or perhaps I will still say, S/4HANA is also a KPI-based business. So you have thresholds, you have KPIs. And when we work in finance, for example, um, um, you have the possibility, for example, to process and monitor the overdue receivables. And this is here a demo company, and we have 65% roughly of overdue receivables, which is quite a lot. The KPI has been updated 10 minutes ago, and we are launching now an analytical application where we see the overdue receivables per payment period. You can drill down into customers, drill down into company codes, etc., or use the charts, for example, to have a look at the top 10 customer with the most outstanding receivables here. And I won't work with the Rock-on Bikes, for example, 133 million US dollars. Let's have a look at the hubs and spokes, for example, customers. What are the overdue receivables? And then when you move to the bottom, you can open this analytical information, the selected hubs and spokes overdue receivables, and jump into an application like manage customer line items. And then you are directly launching from analytics into a transactional application. And you see, for example, here the transaction to display all customer line items. Here you see the journal entry. From there, you can directly, for example, also manage journal entry. You jump into a further application where you can then see the journal entry that has been posted. You can perform an edit and you can change certain kinds of values here. And I will cancel this because I don't want to change this journal entry. Now let's move back to the previous application, which is manage customer line items. And from here, let's assume I would like to send a dunning notification to the customer. And so I simply select the customer. I can launch another transaction like process receivables. And then I see an overview about all the open invoices, 252 invoices from a single customer. You can even also launch the document, the invoice document. I cancel this now. You find in this application various analytical information like what was the payment period and the due period of these customers. So how many outstanding items they has with a due sales days outstanding. You have all kinds of edit mode, contact the customer information, like you can launch the customer master, and you have the whole let's say contact history. Now let's write a dunning note to the customer, so we can simply create a correspondence out of that. Let's say we send him an open item list based on until February this year. We create preview, and then the system directly generates with the right respective templates PDF open page, let's say with an open item list, and we ask the customer to let's say send an email to the customer. We can select an email template and write some text, or you can pre-configure it, and then we send it around. This PDF can also be downloaded. You can also send it via mail or whatsoever, so you are free to do anything. We can do other things. We can also use, let's say, insight to action to transform benefits for the company. Now, let's assume I'm a cash manager. I want to have a look at the cash position for my current company. I can filter by bank country. I can filter by bank and currency, for example. And then I see, for example, I have excessive cash of 532 million euros in the Bank of America in this bank account. And I would like to spend this overdue cash and pay some supplier invoices in order to generate the discount. So it is easy by this cash position. I have direct insight into where is my money, for example. Then I can select it and I can launch another application, which is the cash flow analyzer. Here, this cash flow analyzer gives me an overview about this company code, about the currency, and about the inflows and outflows of my cash. So I select the company code US 1710, the Bank of America, this 5 times 3, and then I see the outflows, the inflows of the various cash options. And of course, clicking a blue hyperlink directly navigates you into the various applications. So from here, you can drill down into the cash flow items, make a bank transfer, etc. What I want to do is I want to ask my colleague, the accounts payable manager, to pay some supplier items. So I just use the Copilot here, which is an overlay. It is an application that it's a kind of chat functionality and also some sticky notes, and it lays over the overlaying application. So I can create a new chat or a sticky note. We have excessive cash at bank account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please kindly check if you could pay some invoices to make use of the cash discounts. So there are several typos. Let's say invoice here with the please have. So, and I just make a note, and the Copilot is also an application that is context aware. So I just typed in, we have excessive cash at bank account 33333. And Copilot is context aware, just looks up the underlying business object, which is the Bank of America here, the bank account. So it's very intuitive. So I can create also a screenshot of this excessive cash and add this to the filter bar. So you can also make, let's say, scribble around or something like this. You can set done, and then we have edited. Now let's delegate this workflow task to my colleague, which is the accounts payable manager. And please kindly process And I sent this chat and task to my colleague. So that's done with my role. Now let's sign out as a manager, as Max Executive, and log in as the other user. So we are signed in now as accounts payable manager. I have also my options here. Let's see, for example, accounts payable overview, etc., my cash discount utilization, and so on. And there I get an notification bar in SAP S/4HANA. And this notification bar, the system notifies me if something is awaiting my approval, etc. And also in the Copilot, I have a new message from Max Executive. So I simply click it and the application directly opens the Copilot. I can open the screenshot, and we weren't SAP if we just can take screenshots. So you can also go to the linked screen. You can directly navigate to the application, and it directly launches the cash flow analyzer with the various bank statements. And he says that there is an excessive cash at bank account, and I should do some pay some supplier invoices. So let's have a look at the cash to payment, and I have the cash flow analyzer, but also the cash discount forecast. Once again, I start with an analytical application. I see in my company code, for example, the overdue statements. So this is an available cash discount in 1710. By that, I can also navigate to the supplier. So let's have a look which supplier is available, has the most available cash discount. Now let's have a look at the by payment terms. So what is for the first supplier, the payment terms? Okay, available cash discount payment terms is 40 days, 2% net. Let's have a look at the next payment days, something that I have already excessive. Okay, currently, so we are here at the 19th of March, but also next week, this is Monday, 19th of March. So next week we have available cash that is shortly expiring. So let's do some payments. So I simply open the Manage Supplier Line Items. So directly launch the application to see the available invoices by the suppliers that I need to pay. So we can also set some filters here and select various select the line items for various products that we have paid. And I see the journal entries that needs to be paid. From here, I can manage the journal entry, navigate to the supplier invoice to have a look, etc. So quite easy, and I see the amount that is due. And now from here, because I have excessive cash, I'm directly in the bank account, 1710, etc., and the bank. So I can select cleared. So let's see whether this was the wrong pile. Yeah. Now I can create a single payment and type in then the supplier, which is EV Parts, that I selected. Some posting date, some bank account, house bank, which was 33333, the Bank of America, etc., account ID, blah, 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 blah. And then I process the payment and I pay a single payment from this various multiple supplier invoices. So gave you some examples in finance, let's say how easy it is to analyze your current state of the art, your current state of company, how easy it is to manage certain items and process them. Yeah, we have not done the simplification, not only done it in finance, we also did it, for example, in inventory management. This is a schematic overview about the classical tables in ECC 6.0 and inventory management. And also here we deleted all aggregates, all indices, and also the master data tables. We created a new master data table and a new single table in inventory management, which is called MatDoc for material documents. 350 columns large, holding all kinds of information, all history information from the system, and giving you direct access and providing you a single source of truth also in the logistics area. Yeah, not only in finance and inventory management, but also in other areas. So this is the table structure of a classical business suite in finance with the totals and indice tables, the document and item level, the material quantities with the stock aggregates and the history tables, the material valuation via the MBEF and the material ledger, but also in sales. And in SAP S/4HANA, you end up with a single and simple data structure. So only one ACDoc A for financial documents. We have only one MATDoc for the material documents. In sales, we end up with 7 items, 6 tables, and some master data tables. And giving you a very flexible structure. So these are also some benefits, not only from finance side, but also from IT for the CIO. SAP S/4HANA provides you a simplified data model, so-called single source of truth in all kinds of areas, so be it sales, finance, procurement, and logistics. By this, because we store the data in less tables, but also we store the data in HANA in the in-memory database, and HANA has a compression factor by default of a factor of 10. You have a reduced data footprint. So if you have a 7 terabyte Oracle-based system, you might end up with 2.5 or 3 terabyte in HANA, which is then less servers, less data replication needed. SAP S/4HANA also provides you the possibilities of landscape optimization due to co-deployment. So CRM, for example, which was an own server, is now embedded in SAP S/4HANA. The extended warehouse management, and also the transportation management, which were own servers, are now also embedded inside SAP S/4HANA. If you just use your BW for operational reporting, you could also disembundle and deinstall the BW, because operational reporting is included in SAP S/4HANA. And also, for example, in finance, we have the BPC, business planning consolidation, also embedded. So you don't need a BPC standalone anymore. So it gives you, S/4HANA gives you a lot of possibilities to simplify your IT landscape. You have a lot of performance improvements, so both transactional but also analytical processes are faster than before. And you will reduce a lot of interfaces, custom code, and master data replication, because we have a single instance available. This was about the modern architecture. Now we come to the role-based design, Fiori. Fiori is not only a nice and fancy blue UI, you have seen it before, that runs on any kind of browser and on any kind of device. So we create one Fiori application, and you run it for the power user in the desktop, and you can run it also on an iPhone, on a smartphone, on a tablet. So it runs on any device, browser-based, but it especially embeds workflows, decision support, and analytical. A single Fiori application combines analytical insights with transactional processes, and I think you will see it also in my various demos, and you will grab the benefit. So let's have a look. How does SAP S/4HANA look like? The single point of entry is the Fiori Launchpad with the various tiles and information and application. From there, you click something, you jump down into analytical pages that provide domain-specific infos and actions to do something. These can be overview pages, list reports, work lists, etc. You trigger actions, you drill down to the next level of detail, and then you jump into a native Fiori application. Or you can also jump to classical GUI transactions that are embedded in the Fiori Launchpad. And Fiori provides a radical change on how people use the ERP. Now think about the analogy in your private life. So when you have a very important meeting the next day and you need to leave at 6 a.m. Your household because you need to catch a plane, and you need to wake up at 4:30, you don't check every 5 minutes if it's time to get up. Yeah? You set your alarm clock and trust the alarm clock to wake you up. You have better things to do, which is sleep and get rest. In SAP S/4HANA, in the work also, we have SAP S/4HANA provides you KPIs like liquidity forecast, my project status, the financial close process, etc. And it indicates you with reds or greens, etc., whether you need to do some actions. So you don't spend time to finding the things, the open items, the customers that have outstanding invoices, the production orders that are blocking, etc. So let SAP tell you when to act and where, and focus on doing the job and the most important items first. So let's have a look into the system. And as I said to you, this is the Fiori Launchpad. It provides you a lot of KPIs. Fiori SAP S/4HANA is KPI based, so you find also a lot of information like overdue purchase order items, the overdue receivables, etc. So a lot of information. We have the Me area, which you see here. You can open there. You see your user that is logged on. You see the recent opened application. You see also your frequently used applications for fast and direct access. We have an application finder where you can find that is the easy entry easy access menu with the R3 tree. So you find any kinds of roles and any kinds of applications, and then you can easily add certain applications to your, let's say, to your dashboard. You can search for applications also in the catalog. Also in the home page, you have the settings, and in the settings, you can see your user account. You can change the appearance. You can select information from the home page. But what is also important is that you can select default areas. If you work in finance in a special controlling area, set here the controlling areas, the cost centers you more often work with, also in finance with the bank accounts, materials management when you only work in a plant, in a certain plant, or with material types, and then all kinds of applications take these default values and just display you those kinds of information that you're really focusing on. Of course, in every application you can rechange it, and you can move around freely these applications. And user specific. We have also a search field. You can search for any kinds of objects here in the system because it is SAP S/4HANA, it's indexed. Every information is inside the in-memory database. You saw how fast it is to launch 730,000 objects. You see everything. And I give you a use case of how easy it is to work with the search. Now, let's assume you're working in finance and you have a sales clerk, a sales manager, who is called David Jones. He has created a journal entry for a supplier invoice, which was not correct. And I want to find out these objects. I don't know the number, but I know that it was at least a supplier invoice and he's working in the German company code. So let's have a look at the journal entries. Oh my goodness, it's still 700,000. But I know by the type, a supplier invoice, the journal entry type is KR, which is in German for Kreditorenrechnung. And I simply select KR. Then I still have 700 objects left. It's good, from 700,000 to 700. I know that David Jones works in the company code 1010, which is Germany. 10, and that's it, David Jones. So with 3 clicks, we directly find the 3 journal entries that David Jones created. And from here, I can manage journal entries that jump directly out of the search into the application. Everything is pre-selected. I can edit, I can change it. And here you see KR, the vendor invoice that has been created. I also see the IDOC object included that had been put there. So what we also have is an embedded help functionality. So the system explains you what it is. Now let's launch one application, which is here financial statement 1720, company code 1710. I just do some pre-selection. So we launch a very complicated application, which is a cash flow statement, which is a design studio app, and you don't know how to work this app and how it works, and your end users might be puzzled. So simply open the question mark, and the application tells you what it is. So why you use asset transaction type, asset accounting figures, what is that here here, for example, you can do some settings. You can edit, open the prompt values. With that here, you can jump directly into a different application. And if you still don't know how to use the system, we have embedded learning functionality. So you can open a learning course that we have recorded by SAP to display cash flow statements, or you can, for example, also embed your own recordings, your own training functions. Yeah, so very intuitive. You click there, then you filter something. You type, for example, the 0. You press enter, etc., and so on. So you have a complete application training. So embedded user help is also included. And then also we have the Copilot, which is our system overlay. And I will explain it shortly what this is. Yeah, the Copilot is our digital assistant and bot integration hub. It is a sticky note functionality, a chat box functionality. You can directly interact with the system, with the objects. You can interact with your other employees inside your company. So you stick the employees to the companies. It has a conversational UI, so you can also use natural language processing. You can speak to the system. It has business context awareness, so you can add objects, create objects. It recognizes objects when you type something, and it works cross-application. You can start on the desktop. You can continue on your mobile app, on the iPhone, for example. If you're a project manager and you're just visiting your customer and you want to have a look at the latest dashboards and figures, you can ask Copilot, show me the latest status of project ABC. And it's completely running in the cloud and is open and extensible.
So let's have a look into the Copilot features and what is available. So let's assume a customer calls you and refers to a quotation that you have, and he asks that you create a sales order from this, but he has some questions regarding the payment terms, which might not be correct, and you would like to perform these actions speaking to the system. Show me open sales quotations from customer Top Bike. That's the first one. Create a standard order for the first one. Now the Copilot asks whether we should create a sales order from the first quotation. So we say yes. And the business object has been created, the sales order with the so-to party and the object. Now let's update this sales order. Update this. Now we update the sales order. We set a billing block because the payment terms are not yet correct. It needs to be checked because I want to prevent that subsequent invoice is being created. Yeah, and this seems correct. And so we have created the sales order. We can also open it in the subsequent application, which is the sales order fact sheet. And you see here, that's the laptop computer. The business partner is Top Bike and the billing block has been set. And for those customers that are, for example, on-premise customers, you could also navigate to the VAO2 change standard order application, and they might recognize this. So there are further possibilities that we can do. Show me all open sales orders for customer Romania. So there is a customer Arcelic Romania. Show me all open sales orders for customer Arcelic Romania. And This is the customer. Now the Copilot queries all open sales orders, and that's quite a lot. And we can open it in the subsequent application. So here we see now manage sales orders. We see all sales orders which are open from customer Selic Romania. And now we can refer to a specific customer reference, for example. Customer reference is executive, and these are the 9 sales orders. And now I have a possibility to open these sales orders, to edit these sales orders, to display the sales orders, for example. So these are some possibilities. Another possibility that you can do, because this user David Jones is a sales user, but he's also an employee, so he could also use the smart buying functionality, for example, to buy a headset that he needs. Show me headsets. So the question is to find catalog items in the product category headset. So these are the ones, the 5 ones, but I need a cheap one. Show me those less than $20. So when I query for the cheaper ones, and then we find this cyber headset, order this. Order this. So I would like to create a subsequent purchase requisition order for this headset. So Copilot is putting an OData request to the backend. It asks me whether I would like to purchase this cyber headset, and then I can say yes. And the purchase requisition has been posted to the system. There it is. And yeah, definitely you can also open this purchase requisition here and have a look at the object. You can also copy this to a new chat, for example. Hi manager, could you please approve this purchase? I need it urgently. So I can create it, for example, to an untitled node. I can add my manager, for example, Max Executive, to this chat and ask him, for example, to approve this. So I could also delegate it directly further on.
So the benefits from the user and process efficiency, it's very intuitive user experience, efficient, fast, and direct. It has S4HANA provides an integrated search and user help, integrated reporting, analytics. We have an intelligent user assistant, like you have seen, giving you a lot of powerful capabilities. And I think it's quite easy to work with the system because it's so intuitive, less clicks, less applications to open. You have a direct navigation. So from one app, you click into something, into invoices, you directly jump into the application to open the invoices. And we have workflows, decision support, analytics, reporting in one single application. Yeah, and based on this, based on the Fiori technology, and based on the simple data structure with the universal journal in finance, the MedDoc in logistics and sales, etc., we create what we call smart business. We have cockpits with exceptions and workflows embedded. We have dashboards, KPIs. We embed analytics, prediction, and simulation inside the system. And I would give you several examples. So let's have a look at sales. What is the benefit and the essence, for example, in sales, how easy it is to use sales and to work with the system. So let's start in sales with the sales overview page. So I'm logged in now as David Jones, who's a sales manager in the Fiori Launchpad, and he opens the sales management overview. So this overview pages, it's Fiori technology, and we have overview pages for any kinds of roles. So for the sales manager, for the procurement clerk, for the MRP planner, for the production planner, for the inventory manager, whatsoever. We provide a lot of overview pages, and the overview pages have some things in common. First of all, they provide KPIs and dashboards, analytical information, but also transactional information like the overdue sales orders, blocked sales orders, etc. You always have a filter bar, and you can use the filter, for example, to switch the display currency from US dollar to euro. You can filter, for example, for a certain customer, like customer top bike, and then only shows you the data from customer top bike, so the incoming sales orders, the sales documents, and then we see one sales order for customer top bike, which is blocked because customer top bike just called me and says they are still waiting on the sales order, and you just use the overview page to select these items. There is one item, billing, one sales order, which has a billing block. This is the sales order, and from here I can open it to resolve the sales order fulfillment issue, and then directly I navigate it into the app. I see this is the sales order that has been created for customer top bike. I can also open the sales order here in the sales order fact sheet. So we ordered some trading goods, top bike. We see the process flow from a quotation. It is now the standard order has been created. The delivery is blocked because of incomplete data. And from here, this application directly tells me what is wrong. It's blocked for invoicing because the payment terms are not correct. So I can edit the payment terms, for example, 14 days, 2%, 30 days net. I selected it, I removed the billing block. Now the payment terms have been solved, but still we have incomplete data. Also delivery issue. And from here directly, I can resolve the incomplete data. I'm directly jumping into the transaction BA02, change standard sales order. And from there, this application, we can complete the data, like customer references, missing type, etc., and so on. And then you can follow on with this application. Yeah, we leave this application. I don't want to change now the application. So with the overview page, very easy to filter all kinds of information. What we also have as a sales clerk is a general sales overview page. It's a bit more transaction based, less KPIs. So as a normal sales clerk, he has a quick action to create sales orders. He focuses on the customer returns, on the open sales orders, etc. So let's have a look at the open sales orders. And once again, we are looking for some open sales orders from customer rock-on bikes. So we directly click it. You jump into an application which is called Manage Sales Orders. The so-to party was rock-on bikes. Simply use the Google-like search, simply type in rock-on, and then directly we filter for these 49 items, and I can process now all of these sales orders. But let's have a look at the customer data. So out of this application, as I said, blue, everything what is blue is a hyperlink. You simply click it, and there you can launch a transaction like the Customer 360 dashboard. And then I launch an application where I see all kinds of information for this customer rock-on bike. I see the sales areas, the open quotations. They don't have open quotations. All the sales orders, for example, only the first 10 are loaded. You can load more. I see contracts, customer returns. Customer has not returned anything, but I see the billing documents also. I can open the invoices here, the billing documents, analyze the KPIs. Load more. And I see also all kinds of fulfillment issues, all kinds of sales orders that are blocked and open, and I need to resolve these sales order fulfillment issues. Some are even open since more than 1 year. And from there, you can directly jump into the application once again to resolve the sales order fulfillment issues, to solve the shipping issues, the delivery issue, etc. Quite easy to process. We have other options to manage sales orders, to focus on the ones that needs to be solved. Track sales order is also one powerful application to load all kinds of sales orders. And now you have seen roughly in 3.5 seconds, the system has loaded over 100,000 sales documents inside the system. It's really hard to process all of these to find this information. So once again, we use the filter bar and we search for all kinds of sales orders from customer top bike with the customer reference executive. So to party is top bike. There it is. We can press go. Something like 5 items, customer reference executive, enter. Then I think it's also 5. And oh, it's 0. Okay. And it was the wrong customer. Anyhow, let's have a look at the 5 items. And then I see all 5 sales orders that are open for customer Rock on Bike. I see the sales document, which I can open then in the application. I see it. We have an issue, a fulfillment issue. It's currently in the order processing phase and information is missing. What is missing? Once again, in the Fiori, you always select the line and you jump into this arrow. And by this, the Fiori application directly navigates you into a second Fiori application, which is the track sales order details. And then I see the whole process flow. So this sales order has been created based on a quotation. We have incomplete data and it's a planned delivery. Now, once again, you know what happens. You need to resolve this incomplete data. You can, for example, resolve sales order fulfillment issue or directly launch the transaction to change the sales order, to complete the documents, the missing information, etc. Good. Jumping back, so track sales orders, powerful application to monitor things. Now, let's start with simple things, creating a sales order. You have seen that we have the GUI transactions available also inside the system. So you can, for creating a sales order, you can launch transaction VA01, so to party Rock on Bike, shipping parties also Rock on Bikes, customer reference executive. I don't know. And we can order some items, some material like the bike cover, which is TGA14, there it is, etc. and so on. Yeah, so it's a simple GUI transactions. You know how to work the machine. The T code field is gone. The fields are a bit aligned. The save and cancel buttons are at the bottoms, but it is still the same. The same application. For fast and easy access, we have also created Fiori applications now, so to party, also Rock on Bikes, etc. There it is. It filters automatically the sales organization distribution center, customer references A, B, C, B, A. New item, which is bike cover. There it is. Requested quantity 10 bike covers. Add the items. Now you have added the items. We can, and this is also in the Fiori, a draft is saved. So directly when I leave now, for example, for lunch and I'm logged out, I can, and then I launch the application once again, the draft is being taken. So not the object is persisted, but the draft. And then I can save it and the object is persisted. Now, the customer references was ABCBA. And once the sales order is being created, I don't know, the sales order number, etc. There it is. And if I go back, for example, and I can use the search, and I can search, for example, customer references ABCBA, and directly also retrieve the sales order that has just been created inside the system. There it is today. There it is at the 16th of March, standard order that has just been created. And there is a sales order with the bike cover that I just created. So several examples about this sales part. Also in finance, we have an overview, we have multiple overview pages for the general ledger overview, for the accounts payable and the accounts. Yeah, and also an overview page for the financial closing cockpit and financial closing processes. Is the Advanced Financial Closing Cockpit is a new application where we have a financial closing overview, but also we can define closing tasks, process closing tasks, etc. So as a financial closing manager, I use the overview pages, for example, to process and delegate and manage a financial closing process. So I see, for example, if I have a month-end closing to be done, I see the task completion rate here. So 60% is done. I see the errors, the warnings, and also the items completed without warnings. So currently, this is the local gap that needs to be processed. Currently, I don't have open tasks, but I can also filter for accounting principles, etc. So starting it, you define a closing task. So whenever you want to process and start a financial close, like for example the IFRS gap in the US, we provide a complete template for the various closing tasks. You can open it, for example, company code for my company code in the US, or 1010, let's say US 1710. For accounts receivable, I have to do these four tasks, manage journal entries. For accounts payable, I have to do several tasks. And then also we have described what is a template, what is a process flow, what other tasks need to be done, and you can assign these tasks then to responsible users, user groups, and processors, etc. So that's the beginning when you define all these closing tasks. Once you have done it, you can process the closing tasks, and every kind of accounting clerk access this application to process the closing tasks. Let's have a look at the 60% of the local gap. Let's have a look at the task list. I'm a manager. I'm not responsible for tasks. Let's have a look at all the open tasks. So, and there you see, for example, here, according to the accounting organization path, the tasks that needs to be done, like manage customer line items. There is a Fiori application connected. This is completed without errors. And then, for example, we have one task, which is the goods and invoice reconciliation. So whenever you need to reconcile any goods received and invoice received, whether they match, and it could be the case that you have also invoice received surplus or goods received surplus. This has not yet started. And then you have the option directly here to process these tasks, directly jump into the application. And S4HANA is that intelligent enough, it connects the various applications together so that you don't need to search for an application. So we see here now the intelligent and machine learning application, which is the goods and invoice reconciliation overview and monitor. I see, for example, currently that the number of invoices, we have an invoice received surplus. I see the number of goods received, goods received amount surplus. These 700 and 500 needs to be processed and before any kinds of month-end closing. And here the application shows you and provides you also decision proposals that you have. So the application shows you these are the ones, the 54 purchasing documents in company code 1010 in Germany, where the system says perform a write-off. Yeah? Don't do a correction of invoice, perform a write-off. I simply select it, and then the application launches and selects these 45 items, the purchasing document, the supplier, etc. And then I can process this item directly. And so here I see, for example, for this item, there was no goods receipt posted, but I have the invoice received. Yeah, so I have no goods received was posted, but 24 items were invoiced. And from there, I can jump into the journal entry. I can post the goods received, then also for the respective part and correct it. Or I can simply write-off and passed. So the application, let's say, suggests me to perform a write-off. If I don't do a write-off, for example, but something else, let's say I do a correction of invoice, then the system learns by it, and next time it provides the better choice for the system. Good. That's what you can do with the financial closing cockpit. So let's once again sign out. I need it later also. Yeah, and last but not least, we also have a procurement overview page, also for procurement clerk. And here you have the same possibility in procurement, let's say, to monitor purchase items and to focus on those tasks that are responsible, so and that are important. Let's log in as purchaser once again, and then we have also the homepage is being loaded. So according to the roles, it looks different sometimes for the end user. And here we can also launch the procurement clerk uses the procurement overview page, for example, to focus on his tasks that are important. So I see, for example, all purchase requisition items that are unsourced. Right here, I can click it, for example, then assign a supplier. For example, here we have 5 sources. One supplier needs to be assigned. And if I don't know which supplier best to choose, I can use the graphics, for example, here, like the supplier has the most spendings, for example, which is a good one. And so I simply select it, and then one supplier has been selected, and the purchase requisition is automatically turned into a purchase order. So going back into the procurement overview page, I can also monitor the contract, and here I have a long-running contract by Polaris Brake, which is currently already 82% consumed, and it's over consumed in 3 weeks. So now you can use, for example, once again, the Copilot to create a task like renew contract with Polaris Brakes. Then by that I can add an object. I can add this quantity contract, for example, that we have. The object here is directly added into the system. Once again, context sensitive. It shows you Polaris Brakes, the 2 suppliers in US and Germany that we have. I can go back, use, for example, then analytical information like the purchasing spend. So let's have a look at the supplier Polaris Brakes. If something can be shown. I see the purchasing spend, for example, here. And once again, I take information for my negotiations with Polaris Brakes. So I use the analytics. I take screenshots, for example, to later on in my discussion with the supplier to get this information. So I simply can collect any kinds of information. Now let's have a look at the trend. How is it going? Stable or going down or going? It's really going down. It's a negative trend. So I also take this information into account. That is really good for discussion. I can also have a look at the price variance, for example, and the documents and whatsoever. Yeah, you can use the analytics to completely find all kinds of information. And then, yeah, I can use this information to, let's say, create a new contract, to prepare for the contract discussions. And create a procurement related activity and whatsoever. So quite easy to work with the system. What we also have in procurement, we have also notifications. So the system notifies me proactively that I have pending supplier confirmations that I need to work on, but also it notifies me if someone creates a purchasing contract, for example. And there is the system monitors whenever a contract is being created, a quantity contract. It monitors all purchase requisitions and shows you where you could use this contract. So I simply click this. The system brings me to the purchase requisition that has been created without any contract. And here I can change this purchase requisition and add the quantity contract automatically here to get a better price, let's say price performance by monitoring. Yeah, so contract is ready as a source of supply. I can dismiss this information, or I can simply then assign the contract directly to this purchase requisition item. So the contract is assigned. So the buying is based now, buying of the material is based on the contract. And by this, the system proactively monitors me if any kinds of information is missing. You have also applications like monitor materials without contract. So you can use this application here to monitor any kinds of materials inside your production facility that don't have a quantity contract. So for example, if you select proposed, here the system proposes you for these 14 materials to create a quantity contract. Nothing exists, but you have a very high spending. So the decision is based on the total gross amount, on the number of PO items. So in the past, roughly about 100 purchase orders have been created. We have only 7 suppliers, days since last order. And by this, you can really focus on those spendings where it really makes sense to create a quantity contract. Yeah, that was also about procurement. And then we can also use this embedded analytics to steer your company by providing embedded analytics. So we have applications, for example, that allows predictive accounting. So in finance, also in sales, you can monitor all incoming sales orders. And the system monitors the incoming sales orders. And even though the sales order is not yet fully processed, a predictive goods receipt and a predictive invoice is being posted in a system, which allows you a predictive accounting. So you can even predict a month-end closing, even in the middle of the month, based on this predictive data. And by this, you can better steer the company. We have also an application which enables demand-driven replenishment. So whenever in your warehouse you want to keep your production up and running. So you pile up some safety stock and materials, but the safety stock binds a lot of money. Now this application can proactively manage this safety stock, because this application analyzes all production orders, all sales orders, all replenishment orders, etc., and calculates automatic what is this amount of safety stock that you need in the next days in order to secure your production. And with this application, manage buffer levels. You can manage the buffers, you can perform a requisition and steer your company. The system also uses predictive analytics to monitor all contract items that might expire shortly or in the next days, to really focus on the negotiation. And now I give you a last demo on the inventory parts with your inventory. So he selects the inventory turnover analysis and selects, for example, for a certain period date at a plant. And we see here in this plant, we have 45 materials. And the bigger the balls, more money is bound by this material. And the lower the turnover rate, the less frequent this material is used inside production or sold. So I can simply select now, for example, this this item, this material, which is the bike cover once again, the MZTGA14, and I find all kinds of analytical data. And now I see also what the problem is, because someone in procurement orders 80,000 items at the beginning of a week or beginning of a month, and then but day to day I use 7,000, 5,000 items, etc. So that is a good point where we can use discuss with the supplier on an intraday delivery. Because S4HANA is also an integrated system, I not only see inventory, post goods issues and goods receipt, but I can also see procurement related activities. I see which suppliers can also deliver these materials, like my domestic US supplier. And then once again, I can open the supplier fact sheet, all kinds of information. It's a quite a good spend, roughly billion US dollars. I see all kinds of information the supplier is configured for those materials, the bank accounts, the purchasing organizations, but also analytical information like the purchasing spend, the contract spend, but also the purchase requisition types. And you can see if I created a free text catalog item for some implementation services, material items created directly via the GUI, and all kinds of information available in the fact sheet. Now, I don't want to change the supplier currently, but I want to have a look at the material and the stock quantity that we have. So I directly launch the application, which is the stock single material, and I can see the stock available in the various plans. I see also in the history when it was available. And I can also see that that I have excessive stock here in location 7010, but something is missing in the US 20, and I could reuse some of these stocks. So once again, I open the Copilot, and I think you still got the mathematics here, to ask my colleague, please move some excessive stock from plant 1710 to plant US 20, like that. I take a screenshot, and by that you can directly also use the embedded information to delegate tasks. So something from there needs to be moved there. Done. I think even the stupidest employees should understand what needs to be done. So I take the Oliver White, which is my inventory user, and I edit him the task and close the Copilot. Now, once again, let's switch the users and let's have a look what Oliver is doing and what Oliver can do. So we check the inf user, welcome one. And Oliver has a lot of various tasks, a lot of information. He also has an inventory overview page where he can have a look at this inventory task that he needs to do about the stock and trend, the block materials and the movements. And then he gets notified. He will have a look at the Copilot, at the chat. Okay, I need to move something. Let's go directly into the application. And I need to move some stock. Okay, from there to there, from 1710 to US 20. So let's do it. Select 1710, this stock, transfer stock cross plant. So I transfer the stock from 1710 into US 20 stock transfer plans. How many items? 40,000 items. Then I can post it. And it is done. And the material document is being created. Once again, everything that is blue is a hyperlink. It brings it directly to the object. So here, that's the material document that has been created. So I see what has been done with the goods issue. I would also see the process flow. And I can even also undo it and reverse it. So wrong posting because of demo cases. And I can even also do a reverse and move it back. because not a physical movement has been done. Good. That's about examples how to steer your company. Now, we are also providing an intelligent ERP. And SAP S4HANA provides also intelligent processes along the value chain. If we start, for example, let's say sales, we have various options. When you work with the customers, you can use the Copilot, the smart assistants, the new user experience to directly interact with the customers. But also when creating and monitoring the sales performance, we have analytical applications that can monitor the sales performance. We can use predictive monitoring and predictive accounting, like I explained before. But we are also using, then comes to production, and here we also have the demand-driven replenishment that I explained to you. But also we use intelligent technologies like here in this defect code proposal, where we create a quality QM message. And you know sometimes how hard it is to create a defect in the GUI system, and you also need to record a defect and check the defect code. What we are doing, we are creating an application that uses image recognition, for example, so you can simply upload an image, which is a broken bike here, broken bike frame. I just was in inventory, I took it, customer return. I upload the image, and then the application directly analyzes this image, and it recognizes that the frame is damaged and broken, soiled. There are also some scratches. Then I can use the description to enter some information, to detailed information, as the dropout is broken at rear axle. If I press enter, then the system redefines the proposal. So the frame is broken. I can simply select this, take this proposal, and then directly the QM message is being created. Then we go into supply chain, and here also we have various applications to monitor, for example, the contract consumption, proposed creation of new catalog items and master data, but also in the supply chain, in the inventory management, we have an application like stock and transit. And I would like also, is it still Oliver White? Yeah, the INFOSYS. And here we have also the overdue materials, stock in transit, an application that uses also predictive analytics in order to monitor all goods movements inside your company, either intra-day movement, intra-warehouse movement, intercompany movements, or also movements towards your customers. And the application monitors all open deliveries and predicts, forecasts when the item most probably will hit the warehouse. And if it doesn't have hit the warehouse, for example, so this one is roughly about 500 days overdue now, and then I can jump, for example, have a look and jump into the purchase order, post the goods receipt, for example, and here I can directly jump into an application, post the goods receipt for the purchase order, or simply write it off if something has happened. So I can very easily to monitor the predictive applications. Yeah, and last but not least, also in finance, we have applications like the cash applications to perform automatic postings using machine learning algorithms of supplier line items, supplier invoices, and customer invoices. Also, we have a payment advice extractor. So whenever the customer pays you 15,000 euros and sends you a PDF document where he refers to these 20 line items, we can import these, we can match these to the invoices and to the payment data, and then using a machine learning job, we can perform an automatic clearing of these items. Yeah, I hope you got you have gotten good insight into SAP S/4HANA, into how powerful the applications are. With SAP S/4HANA 1809, we deliver you a vast majority of applications. I've shown you, let's say, just 15 or 20, but we have more than 700 analytical applications, thousands of transactional processes. And SAP S/4HANA, especially 1809, is a complete ERP system that has feature completeness with the classical ERP and provides even more functionality than before in various kinds of areas in transportation, warehouse, quality, production. Unfortunately, I haven't shown you production processes now, but also here we are really, really strong. To sum it up, SAP S/4HANA is just one part of the digital business framework. So we have SAP S/4HANA as the core ERP. We have standalone solutions like CRM, EWM, and TM, which have been now integrated in SAP S/4HANA, creating one single ERP, one single source of truth, providing you insights into every kinds of information. Whenever you are not fine with the processes that SAP S/4HANA delivers you, you can also extend the processes by our native cloud applications. So if you want to do spend management, travel management, you use Concur. Whenever it's about integrating suppliers, you use Ariba. Customers with SAP Hybris, or now called C4HANA. For HR, we have SuccessFactors, and for contingent labor workforce, you use SAP Fieldglass to buy these third-party services, to hire the users, to integrate them. You can use the SAP Cloud Platform in order to extend SAP S/4HANA. We have built SAP Cloud applications natively running on the Cloud Platform, extending S/4HANA. Customers and also partners can build third-party applications. They use the business services inside the SAP Cloud Platform. We have mobile services, security services, but also machine learning and IoT services. And all these applications, be either on the SAP Cloud Platform or on the cloud or on SAP S/4HANA, all run on SAP HANA database. And they are connected seamlessly with Fiori and a native SAP Cloud Platform integration. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope I see you next time. If you have any kinds of question, or if you want to follow me, please send me an email, or there you find my LinkedIn profile.